where the wild winds run, where the skies stretch wide and kiss the sun. The sagebrush whispers, the rivers hum. This land's a story just begun. Wyoming calls, where the heart beats free. Mountains rise and dreams run deep. Past the borders, past the sign, there's a world alive beyond the fence line. Boots hit gravel and the prairie sings with every hoofbeat. The frontier rings from ranchers' hands to miners' veins. The spirit of the West remains. Wyoming calls, where the heart beats free. Mountains rise and dreams run deep. Past the borders, past the sign, there's a world alive beyond the fence line. So come ride with me through the dust and time. Find the soul of Wyoming beyond the fence line, beyond the fence beyond the fence line, beyond the fence
Welcome to Wyoming Beyond the Fence Line, where we step past the headlines and into the truth. This show isn't about left or right, it's about what's real in Wyoming, across the country, and around the world. No spin, no talking points, just facts, context, and honest conversation. If you're tired of being managed instead of informed, you're in the right place. Let's go beyond the fence line. And now, here is your host, Joseph Kibler, candidate for Wyoming governor in 2026. Welcome to Wyoming Beyond the Fence Line, where we step past...
Hey. Friday. We made it. Huh, you guys? We made it. And the Wyoming wind has returned. I don't know about you guys, but the wind doesn't really bother me. I actually enjoy the Wyoming wind. I mean, I think it's Of course, now that I think about it, I'm really not bothered by a whole lot, which is probably why I'm well suited to run for office. Yes, I care about how you guys think and what's going on with you and all of that good stuff. But you've got to have thick skin to be in this ball game, don't you? So here we are, wrapping up another week of the big week right after our big campaign announcement that we are seeking the nomination of the Constitution Party of Wyoming. So we have spent a whole bunch of time this week talking about the reason why, but also hopefully and trying to educate all of you on the party and on the platform. And many of you have reached out to me, by the way, and you said, Joseph, I've never even heard of this. I didn't know I had another option, and I really want another option. Well, guess what, you guys? This party is only getting started. And you are going to have another option when you go to that ballot box in November. And we're going to get this thing done. We're going to have fun with it. By the way, I should mention when you're watching this show, we are looking for county leaders in many counties across the state, both for the campaign and for the party. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to us. We're also looking for candidates, by the way. If you look at the platform and you look at what we've got going on and you find that, oh, wow, little did I know that I actually agree with most of what this party stands for. Well, maybe you ought to go ahead and reach out and run for office. Maybe you've got a local office that you want to run. Guess what? If you're local, you can run on the Constitution Party platform. Local, state, any position really that's up for election this year. If you want to run, you want to be something different, like our campaign is, reach out to us. See if there's good alignment there. And we'll have a conversation. And we know we all have our own ideas, and we might not always agree on 100% of everything. But if we can get 80, 90% of the way there, let's be something different. Let's do this thing together. So this is an opportunity for you too. And we have until about the middle of May for you to go ahead and join us if you're interested in running for office on the party platform. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, with that, let's go ahead and get into the show. So this week we've been going through the Wyoming Constitution Party's platform. Or the Constitution Party of Wyoming platform. I've heard it both ways. However you want to hear it, that's fine. So with that, let's look. So by the way, I'll make sure I post where we're at on this. And I'm also sharing the wrong screen. So give me just a quick second here. Let me log out of this and let me go ahead and go like this. There we go. Okay, very, very good. So here we are. And we are going to go ahead and take a look at the rest of hopefully we'll get through the rest of the platform items today. We've covered this week so far, we've covered the foundational plank about private property, accountability, character and moral conduct, cost of big government, constitutional amendments, executive orders, defense, education, emergency management, crime and law enforcement, cronyism and corruption, family, gun control, healthcare and government and nullification. Today we're going to talk about, let's start here. This is where we're going to talk. So we're going to start on this one. And I'm doing this video in a slightly different format today. I hope this is okay with you guys. That way you can see me a little better as we go through these things. Or do you prefer to see the website? I don't know. Comment below on whatever you guys prefer so I know in the future what you guys want me to do. So presidential electors, we support Article 2, Section 1, the Constitution of the United States of America as by amendment number 12, XXII, if you will, or XII rather. We oppose the participation of Wyoming in a national popular vote compact that requires participating states presidential electors to vote for the winner of the maximum nationwide popular vote. We have the Electoral College for a reason, folks. Our founding fathers were wise men. They were godly men. Most of them were men who sought God. And God gave them great wisdom in the founding of this nation to create as much as possible an equal opportunity and participation in national elections for the big states, for the small states, for everything in between. And that is why we support the Electoral College as the Wyoming Constitution Party. Private property, well, this is an easy one for most of us. I think most of us agree on this issue. But boy, we sure have to fight for it here. I mean, you guys, I don't know if any of you have been watching what's going on in Laramie County for the last year. That's fighting for personal property rights. And we continue, by the way, on the city level with this annexation of Whitefresh. We fight. You know, it's astounding to me that we even have to fight for this in America. It really, truly is. It shows how far bureaucracy has gotten out of control. The fact that we're having to fight for one of our core beliefs and rights and values is kind of mind-blowing to me. So what do we believe when it comes to private property? We affirm that ownership and control of personal and private property is among the inalienable rights with which the Creator has endowed man and are key to a successful free market. We oppose the actions of any entity, organization, agency, or person that would diminish your personal property rights. We favor specific Wyoming legislative action to forbid any Wyoming governmental subdivision or from participating in any such agenda or organization, including environmental or economic development organizations, as it pertains to the intrusion of your private property rights. By the way, guys, if elected governor, we are going to enshrine a lot of what we see here by going back to basics. We're going to shred institutionalized bureaucracy and bureaucracy in general. It is going to be shredded. We're going to take it all out of the shredder, and we're going to enshrine for the rest of time these basic liberties that we've been given by our U.S. Constitution and by our Creator. We have so distorted these things. I think if you guys are watching, most of you could probably agree. We have distorted these things beyond all reason. Privacy. We oppose all warrantless federal and state surveillance of any form, as it violates the natural right to privacy guaranteed in the 9th and 10th Amendments, by the way, of the U.S. Constitution. We therefore oppose national databases of citizens, personal information, national identification cards, or numbers of people. You know what's interesting about this, you guys? If we look around us, we see all of these data centers being built. Rest assured, folks, that is not just for AI. It will be for some of these things that we're seeing here, whether we like it or not. And yes, we should fight it. 100% agree. I will fight it on your behalf. But we are going to begin to see some of these things coming to be. And then, of course, I can take off my, I guess you could say, my running for governor hat for a minute and put on my biblical hat. And I know that the Bible talks about what will happen in the end of days, the end of times. And some of these things are part of God's design to bring us to Him. And I pray for maybe through some of this we'll have a great revival in this nation, a spiritual revival, a revival of our hearts. And we can pray for that. And I always tell people, they say, I'm worried about my privacy. There really is no privacy in 2026, if you think about it. I mean, if you're watching this right now, you have no privacy. You would have to be off grid and disconnected from everything and maybe even not have power in order to have true privacy in this nation anymore, right? So this is a tough issue because we really don't have privacy anymore as it stands. And we've been willing to give that up for convenience, right? For the ability to be online and do all the things that we do. Our smart devices in our home. I mean, the biggest purchase regret I've ever had, you guys, is the smart refrigerator that we've got. And by the way, I've been trying to get rid of the thing. My kids kind of like it because they can play, music and stuff on it. But everything is smart, right? And everything is listening and everything is invading our privacy. So I suppose that's something that we've been willing to give up, but maybe it's something we should begin to fight for more. All right, let's go to religion. The Constitution of the United States grants no authority to the federal government either to grant or deny the religious expressions of its citizens in any place. Pretty straightforward, you guys. I don't think I need to delve into that at all. I think you guys understand what that means. The sanctity of life. Now, we talked about life as being one of the core principles of the party, or one of the pillars. And so I will go ahead and get into that. But as you guys know, life is one of the core principles of the party. But let's talk about the sanctity of life. Again, I'm 100% on this. We oppose abortion and euthanasia. We affirm that human life begins at conception and stand for the protection of human life from conception to natural death. Very simple. I will go ahead, you guys, if you go to any of my channels, go to my YouTube channel or my Rumble, you guys can look at the show archives. Go look at my show that I've got titled Beyond Birth, the Real Pro-Life Challenge. Go look at that show that I did. It's been a couple of months now. I talk about this issue, but I also add a little bit of a different perspective on this issue than maybe you've heard from a lot of any other politician, really. I talk about things, as you guys will find, when I talk about these issues, I talk about the uncomfortable parts of these issues. I talk about every aspect of these issues. I don't just hardline down an aisle. I have the conversation about the whole issue. And so I encourage you guys to take a look at that if you have a chance. Searches and seizures. We affirm the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of the United States that forbids activities such as general and warrantless surveillance, stops, searches, checks, and denial of freedom of movement electronically or without probable cause. I mean, pretty straightforward. I mean, we are called the Constitution Party for a reason, right? You will notice that essentially everything here can be derived in one way or another directly from the Constitution. So it's important. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it constitutional. Let's talk about land. Public lands and public hands. We've had that conversation really, right? A lot more in the last year, right? Because of some legislation coming out of the U.S. Congress and some stuff going on here locally as well. We affirm that the Constitution of the United States allows and restricts federal purchase of places within the state of Wyoming by consent of its legislature for the purposes enumerated under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. We need, again, you guys need to go back. I'm just going to reference it again. Go look at my YouTube videos on public lands. If you want to see where I stand on that stuff, go take a look. Plenty of information there, and in line, obviously, with this that you see here. And of course, federal government owns an awful lot of this state. We want to make sure that that land is managed properly, whether it's multi-use or multi-purpose, but that it's available to the people. And that it's used correctly on behalf of the people when those opportunities arise. And if there is a piece of land that makes sense to transfer for a variety of reasons, it could be development or progress or conservation or whatever, that is done correctly for the people of Wyoming. Really, really good. State and federal regulations. Boy, are we over-regulated, aren't we? Whereas the acceptance of federal funds always result in the imposition of federal regulations. We support operating Wyoming government without federal funds to avoid federal regulations. We can all agree, I think, that we are over-bureaucratized at every level. And money always comes with strings attached. Agree or disagree? Feel free to comment below. Money always comes with strings attached. And that goes for everything. Any topic, any issue, when you've got state, federal money, whatever you have, loans, school loans, there are strings attached to that. There are intrinsic costs to culture and community and society and individualism when we take money from a government entity. So something to be thinking about. State sovereignty, all powers related to Wyoming, its people, lands, and issues, not specifically delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to Wyoming, are reserved for the state of Wyoming itself and its people. Again, state sovereignty. And we talked about, about that a little bit in yesterday's episode as well, when we talked about some of these other issues. Wildlife. We affirm that the state of Wyoming has a right to manage all of its wildlife within the confines for the benefit of the people. Pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to elaborate upon that stand a whole bunch, other than that we have the right to take care of those things. And the last, but certainly not least, is welfare. You know, God calls us to take care of those whom are the poor among us, those who are struggling among us, to care for this. That is the duty, by the way, of the people, not the duty of government. And I've always said that, by the way. I've always said that the people do a much better job helping the people than government does. Oh, and by the way, they do it much more efficiently, much more cost effectively, and quite frankly, they help lives so much better than government can ever do. And I know we have good people in this state that work in these areas of government and do the best that they can to serve the people in these ways with food and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't want to disparage those people that are involved in those programs and doing those things, but these things need to go back to the people. They need to. Government welfare. By the way, I'm going to say personal or corporate. And boy, we got a lot of corporate welfare in Wyoming and in this nation. I mean, corporate welfare has destroyed the free markets and quite frankly caused a lot of the other problems that we have down the line. It's a conversation that we need to have. For sure. So let's read this. Welfare. The provision of charity by any government is unconstitutional and socially destructive. Under no circumstances should citizens be taxed to fund welfare. Charity should be voluntary. Individuals, families, religious entities, and other private organizations are the best providers of assistance to those in need. Boom. We have to do that, you guys. We have to get back to this idea that government is not, this is not the role of government, guys. This is not the role of government. It's the role of you and I. It's the role of us as individuals, as families, as churches, as people, as nonprofits to care for our neighbors. And you should not be taxed in order to provide for the needs of others. And I would argue that if you were not taxed for those things, you would be in a better position to help people around you, right? You'd be in a better position to do those things. Not the role of government. And you might say, Joseph, well, how do we undo all of this stuff? What do we do when it comes to this issue of welfare? And by the way, I'm going to say it again, whether it's personal welfare or corporate welfare. By the way, Wyoming Business Council, corporate welfare. Sorry, that's what it is. Your tax dollars going to in grants and corporate welfare on your behalf. It's not the right way to do things. It destroys the free market, picks winners and losers, and it doesn't really solve anything. And all it does is get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The director of the Wyoming Business Council even said that. We need $1 billion. So we need to increase their funding, apparently, by like tenfold or something in order to fix the problems in Wyoming. No. Then you just have $1 billion corporate welfare program. So how do we get back to basics? You know, we allow the people to start taking care of the people. We enable that. The Wyoming Hunger Initiative is a great example of that. The people can take care of these things and do a better job when government gets out of the way. So that's the welfare issue. And I know that's an important issue for a lot of you. Let's continue, by the way, to have that conversation. With that, I'm going to wrap up the show, maybe call it a little early weekend. Well, no, I'm not going to call it a little early weekend. I'm going to work all day. But I will have family movie night, and that'll be great. Right now, the family, we're watching Bad Batch on Disney. It's kind of a fun Star Wars-y show. We all like that. We enjoy the storyline and all of that. So that's what we'll be doing tonight. Anyways, God bless you guys. Have a great weekend. I'm going to do this whole stop screen share thing. And let's just kind of wrap up the show with, how about, let's wrap the week up with the song that we have for the show called Love Them More. I think it's a great song. It really is where the heart of my campaign is to love the people, even the people that don't agree with me, to be kind, to be something different. See you guys later. God bless.
That's today's episode of Wyoming Beyond the Fence Line with Joseph Kibler, candidate for Wyoming governor in 2026. If this mattered to you, share it, stay engaged, and keep asking hard questions. Be something different. Visit Joseph4wy.com for more information.
Sun up shining on a gravel drive, granddad's coffee in a styrofoam cup. Says, boy, this world will tell you keep what's yours, but that ain't how we were brought up. We bow our heads at the table, thank the Lord for the food and the fight, 'cause loving folks who love you back is easy, but that ain't walking in the light. Love your neighbor, mow his yard when he's hurting. Love your brother when he's slamming your door. Love the stranger when your pride says ignore him. Love the bitter heart twice what you did before. You can love your friends on Sunday morning, but Jesus taught a different kind of war. If you really want to shake this world for heaven, love your enemies more. Yeah, love your enemies more. She's got a Bible with a cracked little spine, highlighter on every other page. Says turn the other cheek, ain't just a slogan. It's a narrow road you gotta pave. We pass the plates and the casseroles, fix the porch where the storm goes through. When they curse your name, you hit your knees, say Father bless them like you do. Love your neighbor, mow his yard when he's hurting. Love your brother when he's slamming your door. Love a stranger when your pride says ignore him. Love the bitter heart twice what you did before. You can love your friends on Sunday morning, but Jesus taught a different kind of war. If you really want to shake this world for heaven, love your enemies more. Yeah, love your enemies more. She's got a Bible with a cracked leather spine, highlighter on every other page. Says turn the other cheek, ain't just a slogan. It's a narrow road, you gotta pay.
You pass the plates and the casseroles, fix the porch when a storm rolls through. When they curse your name, you hit your knee.
Say, Father, bless him like you do.